gang. A puddler is when that fish is right under the surface of the water. He hasn't actually broke the surface of the water, but he's feeding and he's turning his body, and it's causing a little tiny, not a boil, but it's just causing the surface of the water to just break a little bit with the movement of his tail or maybe his dorsal fin or the side of his body. And it just barely breaks the surface of the water, maybe like I'm showing with my elbow. It just twitches. It looks like, why do we call them puddlers? Because it looks like when you drop a little rock into a puddle of water. That's why we call them puddlers. And it's just the fish barely breaking the surface of the water, but they're not actually coming out of the water. What is a shiner? And all these things that we're talking about, gang, are available over at my website at yoursaltwaterguide.com. This is just some of the different things you get when you're a member of my website. We go over all these different things. We have different categories to show you what we're talking about. And this whole shiner, puddler, breezer, foamer thing, they're all different ways that the fish act out there. And all bonita, barracuda, yellowtail, bonita, barracuda, yellowtail, tarpon, bluefin, yellowfin, albacore, they all do these different things. So when you're seeing a puddler, that's just a couple of fish just twitching and just barely making the surface of the water flip over on itself, but they're not actually coming out of the water. Then you got foamers. What's a foamer? That's when the fish are going absolutely bananas on a ball of bait, and they're destroying the ball of bait, and the water is actually white. It looks like foam because that's what it is. And that's what a foamer is. When that fish is on the surface going absolutely bananas, eating every little bait fish. And why are they get so wound up and they get so excited because they think their friend is going to get more of that bait fish than they are. So they're all going bananas, eating that bait fish, and it's causing the surface of the water to foam. That's a foamer. So you got to identify these different things. And the best thing to do is have a good pair of binoculars so you can start to identify. If you're offshore fishing and you don't have a pair of gyro stabilizing binoculars, which cost about $5,000 to $6,000, and I know that's a giant investment, but thanks to what's going on in the United States of America today, that's about a half a tank of gas on your boat, or a half a tank of diesel. Thank you very much. I think last year you couldn't even have got a quarter of a pair of these binoculars. Now you can get a couple of pairs of binoculars for a full tank of fuel. So think about it. When you're offshore and you're burning all that precious fuel that costs so much money, you got to have a pair of really good binoculars so you can start to identify, is that a breezer, or is that the wind? Is that puddlers, or is that the wind? Are those shiners? Now, shiners, we didn't talk about it. Shiners are when the fish are twitching and they're kind of rubbing up against each other, and then you see their belly. I believe that they're spawning. I believe they're mating. That's when they're shining, and they're touching belly to belly, and they turn on and when that belly, they turn it a little bit and the sun hits it, it makes it like a mirror. It likes a reflection. We call that shining. They're shiners. People, believe me, very few people ever see shiners because their eyes aren't trained. They're not professional fishermen. And a lot of professional fishermen don't see shiners because they don't know what the hell we're talking about. Just because you're a professional fisherman doesn't mean you know all these terms and you know all these things. Believe me, there's plenty of professional fishermen that watch my show every day, whether you want to believe it or not. And they're learning all the time, just like I'm trying to teach you. The shiners are fish that are spawning. Now, I don't know if you've ever spawned before, but whenever I've spawned, right after I'm done spawning, I want to eat. Same thing with fish. When they're shining, they're doing that spawning thing, right? When they're doing that, and then all of a sudden you throw some bait on top of them or you cast your lure in there, they're going to eat it because they're spawning and they're hungry. Why are they hungry? Because they're burning energy. And when they need more food, more calories, when they're burning energy, when they're spawning, and that's what they're doing when they're shining. They're rubbing their bellies up against each other. When their bellies hit, they turn a little bit, twitch, and then you see the belly shining on the water. All these things are happening out there on this bluefin grounds right now. Everything I just talked about. And 90% of this stuff is missed by about 95% of the fishermen. There's about 5% of the guys out there that are sharp and that see all this stuff. And those are the ones that have the boat, the back of the boat full of big bluefin every time you see them post on social media. Those are guys that can read the water and they can read the different signals. So we went over it. We got shiners, we got puddlers, we got foamers, and we got breezers. And all those four things matter so much to recognizing them to be, and it'll change from having a great day to having a bad day. You've got to be able to identify these different traits that these fish are doing offshore. I don't care if you're in the Gulf of Mexico or if you're on the Atlantic or if you're in California. The fish are all doing the same thing. Your yellowfin and your bluefin and your dorado and your yellowtail or your mahi or your dolphin fish. If you're in Florida, ooh, we don't want to mess up the Florida guys because they're the best fishermen on the planet. So we don't want to piss you guys off. So we're talking about your dolphin fish. They're all doing all these different things. And a lot of you are driving right by all the signal, all the sign. I believe, and my good buddy Pete Grosbeck said, whenever that fish is doing one of those four things, wherever they're shining or puddling or foaming, or those are the snitches. Those are the ones that are letting you know that all their buddies are over here. The snitch allows his whole family to get caught. Yep. Remember, snitches get stitches? Well, the same thing happens with fishing. When that little snitch goes up there and puddles on the surface, that's the whole school. You go in there and you get the whole family because he snitched out his group, his family. So hopefully this helps you a little bit more, get you a little bit closer to what you're looking for on your boat when you're out fishing. So make sure you swing by Promar.com. Get yourself some of these rock cod squirts. Have them on your boat. They work phenomenal. You always want to have one in your tackle box because it's just going to save your day if you have to revert to rock fishing for a little while you wait for the fish to start foaming or puddling or shining or breezing. Thanks for joining us today. I get real passionate about fishing because I love to fish and I love to catch. That's my deal. And I want you all to be able to catch fish. That's why I built that website, yoursaltwaterguide.com. And for a whopping $4.99 a month, you can be a member. Oh, don't forget, leave stars. If you leave stars on our Facebook page, and I don't care if it's an old video or a new video, if you leave stars, that's going to enter you into the contest to win the 3/4 day trip on the Bowline Sport Fishing with Justin Botrell and his family. You can leave stars on my Facebook page. And then when you do leave stars, that enters you into the raffle to win that 3/4 day trip that we're going to give away on July 31st. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel. All these things are easily done. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then we're going to pick one lucky person out of that box that is going to win a case of Baja Jerky. We're going to pick a winner of the trip on the Bowline Sport Fishing to go catch fish with Justin Botrell and his wife Amanda at a Long Beach 3/4 day trip. You just got to leave some stars over on our Facebook page and then subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that'll get you in the raffle to win that case of Baja Jerky. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope I taught you something. And I'm just going to help you all out on this social media thing. If you've got a burning desire to leave a negative comment, don't leave it because I'm erasing them. I'm not putting up with your shit anymore, folks. I'm not. I got millions of views a week. I don't need your negative. All of you that are negative, go take your negative to somebody else's social media channel. I'm just trying to help. Believe me, your negative comments are going to be erased immediately. Have a great day. Be kind to each other. Turn off the news. They're all lying. I will keep telling the truth whether you like it or not.